Hi friends, how are you? My name is Barb. I live here in West Seneca, New York. I am a cross stitcher, a seamstress, a quilter, a mom, a grandma, a dog mom, a cat mom, a wife, gardener, baker. I'm living my best life. I have been saying now for probably a couple months that I'm in my puttering era. So everything that I do, I just putter. So thank you for joining me today. I welcome you all in. I'm going to caution you, this is going to be long. I have a lot to talk about the Brenda Gervais retreat, and I also just came back from a cross-stitch estate sale. So grab your coffee, whatever you need to do. Watch this in segments, however you need to do it, but I have so much I want to talk to you about. So today, and I do have my notebook here, so I will be looking down and around at everything that's here. So I need to do that to try to keep myself on track here. Today is Friday, June 12th. This is Flosstube number 34, and I am now up to 214 subscribers because I gained a few new friends at retreat last weekend. So I'm sure that you saw many pictures posted on Instagram. I even did a couple of short videos from the retreat. I did have some pictures posted of the exclusive that Brenda gave to us. And then a little while later, David, one of the owners of David and Kathy own Hobby House Needleworks, he made a comment about please don't post pictures that are dead straight on of the stitching. He said because we don't want people to take advantage of that and do things that they shouldn't be doing. So I actually took my post down because I was worried that maybe it was a little bit too close. And then as I was looking at all the other pictures going through the feeds, it wasn't. There were some that were much closer than mine. So I did put my picture back up of the exclusive and the small that went with it. I cannot tell you, I don't have the words to say what a wonderful retreat this was. I went by myself. Sorry, I have my window open here. As you can see, the curtains flowing. I went by myself, and I know that there are a lot of people who talk about going to retreats, but they're afraid to because, you know, they're going by themselves and they don't know anybody. You meet people. Now, the retreat was technically last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 5th, 6th, and 7th of June. I went down on Thursday, the 4th, which was my oldest son's birthday, because I wanted to do some shopping at Hobby House. Stack of it is over there. So Rochester, well, the Woodcliff is maybe an hour and a half from me, but I decided that I was going to take the back roads, so it made it a little bit longer. But just driving through the countryside, and I don't have a problem with that. I would much rather take the back roads and take a little bit longer than to have to deal with some of the things you have to deal with when you're driving on the thruway and you're doing the speed limit and not everybody else is. But anyway, that's a different topic for a different day. So I did take the back roads. It did take me a little bit longer, and I was fine with that. My first stop was Hobby House. I couldn't check into the hotel till 4 o'clock anyway, so got to Hobby House maybe 2:30ish. I don't remember. Went right to the linen room and saw my friend Vic, and chatted with her briefly, and went right to the Cedar River linen, which was scarce, but that doesn't mean I didn't find some, and plus all the other linens that they have there. It is I just love walking into that room. It's just walls of linens and Ada and Lugana. It was just wonderful. So I did all that. I went over to the hotel, checked in, got myself situated, and then I said, okay, I've got to run to Wegmans, because I wanted to go and get some munchies and stuff to keep in my room. Our meals were included in the price of this retreat. That's not always the way, but breakfast, lunch, and dinner was included. But I still wanted to have some snacky snacks. So I went and picked up some yogurt and some fruit. I know, some pop. And I came back and I went downstairs to the main lobby, and I was sitting there and I went, oh, that's Brenda. That's Brenda Gervais. I got all excited, right? And she was sitting there talking with David, and I'm like, oh my God, she's here, right? So I ran up to my room for, I don't even remember what I went up to my room for. I think I wanted to grab one of her patterns to have her sign it. I came down and she was gone. So later on that evening, I brought some stitching downstairs, and I sat at one of the tables, and it's like you sit down in the wild with your stitching, and the next thing you know, you have a whole table or 2 or 3 tables of stitchers. Hey, can I join you? Absolutely. I'm just sitting here stitching my time away. So I had a lovely Thursday evening just sitting with some stitchers, and it got to be not very late. It was only like 8 o'clock or whatever, and a lot of people were heading upstairs. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go upstairs and have a snack. And I was in my room, and I looked out the window. My window faced the back of the property, and there was a stunning sunset. It was just amazing. I stood there in my room looking out the window, and I said, why don't you go outside? You can go outside and stand outside and take really nice pictures. So I did. I went outside and I enjoyed the beautiful sunset. After that, came back up into my room and I started stitching. My goal the last weekend, was to stitch on just Brenda Gervais pieces. So I did that on Friday night. I'm actually going to see if I have in here what I stitched on. But you know what? I'm going to stop myself there because I want to go through no, you know what? I am all over the place. Honest to God, I'm sorry. I'm just all over the place with this. I went upstairs and I stitched, I stitched on the Earth Laughs because I wrote it in my book. So I'm going to pull out my pieces that I stitched on, and honestly, I got a lot of stitching done. Some people say they don't get much stitching done at retreat. Our table, we stitched, and it was nice. Of course, we walked around and chit-chatted it and the like, but I can tell you that I did stitch. I'm just looking for the cover picture of my pattern. Okay, so this is called The Earth Laughs. It's a beautiful piece. So pretty. So my progress on this piece, and I might have made a couple mistakes, but that's okay. You know what? I just kept right on going. And I really did get a lot done. And I'm not sure if this lighting is going to work in here right now. I do not have my overhead light on. So I might just do that. Let's see. Can you see what this looks like? Nope. Okay. I'm going to just pause quickly and I'm going to turn the overhead light on. Okay. So here's The Earth Laughs. It is so pretty. Now, I did make a counting error down in this motif here. And I said, it's no big deal. I think I have 10 stitches. It should be 9, something like that. It's one off. It's one too many. So I did the next motif, and then I thought, well, I have to make sure, because if you look at this pattern, there's a house here in the corner. So what I wanted to make sure is that the house over here, can't see it, that the house over here would be seated appropriately in line with the grass. So I came down the side, and then I was able to figure out where my grass was going to be. And I am a couple of stitches off because way back in the beginning, I have a counting error over here as well. So what I did when I made those errors was I just noted it on my pattern that there was a counting error and everything got moved over and everything else. So the problem, and it's not a problem, I don't even want to use that term. We stitch so many things, most of us, because we're not monogamous, which I don't have a problem with, that getting back to it, I forget. So I'm one of those stitchers that does stitch on a paper or use a paper copy. I make a copy to work on, a working copy, and I will mark that up. If I'm sitting there and I'm watching a Flosstube and somebody talks about a pattern, I'm writing it on there. I put down the day I started, any mistakes that I've made, YouTube people that I have watched, Flosstube people that I have watched. I have a lot of notes on my patterns because, you know, you're in the middle of something and I am not going to stop what I'm doing to look for the pad that I wanted to keep by my stitching chair to keep all of these notes. So it either goes on the pattern or in my calendar because I generally keep my calendar right there. So I really got a lot done on this. I finished the motifs here. I did these motifs. So this I primarily stitched on Thursday. I wanted to try to do one piece a day. So as I said, I got in early Thursday, did what I needed to do, came downstairs, started stitching on this. When I went back upstairs, I continued stitching on it. So Thursday was my day for the Earth Laughs, and I'm pretty certain that was the only day that I stitched on that was Thursday. Now I can tell you that I am using Hazelnut Cream by Grace Notes, and it is a 28 count linen, and it's lovely. I really am liking the green that I'm seeing in that fabric. It's very, very pretty, and it's very easy to work with. To be very honest, at the retreat, I did use a hoop because I'm not used to sitting at a table when I stitch. I actually bought a stand. I bought a Nerge stand. I don't even really use Nerge hoops. I don't even really use hoops, but I did buy the stand because I knew from past retreats, now this was my 4th retreat, I knew from past retreats that I would be sitting and stitching, and it's not easy to just sit at a table and stitch. And for those of you that do that, I commend you. I can't do it. I'm in my chair, the recliner's up, I got the stuff over here, I got stuff over here. So I did use a hoop because I was trying to learn how to use that stand. It was the first time I was using the stand, and it was interesting. I had to have one of the girls at my table straighten me out. Thank you, Amy. Straighten me out with how I was using the hoop. So my Thursday, I am moving things out of my way here because I'm not kidding when I say my table is full and then I have more things on the chairs over there. So Thursday I stitched on, what did I just say? The Earth Laughs. I also watched, while I was there, I watched Kara Osborne, who used AI to come up with a plan to clean her sewing room. I thought that was ingenious. I thought about doing that, and then I'm thinking, oh my God, I gotta stand in my sewing room upstairs and take a picture. Excuse me. have to laugh because one of my dogs, Chet, the younger one, is at doggy daycare. Pip, the older guy, is laying over here on the floor quiet. My neighbor's dog is outside, and of course I opened all my windows. Even though I had my AC on the other day, I can't stand that. I do not like AC. I put it on because my dogs, the humidity was well into the 80s, the temp. So I got my dog paws count going. We're at 1. So let me get back to where I was talking about Thursday. Now, I did watch, as I said, Kiera Osborne, and she used AI to come up with a plan to clean her sewing room, and I thought that was just so cool. I would not have thought about that. And I mean, she was reading off some of what the suggestions were, and it seemed to make a lot of sense to her. She was saying, yes, I can see where I could do this and this and that. And I thought, I might do that down in my quilt studio, but I don't know. So I watched her. I thought that was really interesting. And then I also watched, new to me, her Flosstube is Adelaide Stitches. I really enjoyed her too. I'm really trying to add new people to my list of floss tubes because I have noticed, and I did the same thing where you're all gung-ho when you start and you try to post every week or every couple weeks, and then life happens and things happen and you can't do it, and that's okay. I enjoy when my people that I haven't been watching pop back up. So I am filling my space with new floss tubers, and I'm finding that a lot of fun. So that was Thursday. As I said, I was at Hobby House and I did make a lot of purchases, and I did see my good friend Vic, and I thank you again very much for the gift, Vic. I appreciate it. So Friday, now the retreat officially began on Friday. The doors opened to the banquet hall for the open stitch. They call it the stitching room. It opened at 1 o'clock. We were in line at noon. I am telling you, if you ever wanted to see determined women, it's a bunch of stitchers standing there waiting for the doors to open, because people have places that they prefer to sit. The tables were set for seats of 8. There were tables in the center of the room. There were tables on the outside. Now, there are no cords provided for you. So if you have a table where everybody is using an OT light or something like that, you want to sit close to a plug so that you can charge your light or your phone, right? So some people wanted to sit right up front because they wanted to be able to see what was going on. The way they had the room set up, Brenda was actually in the center of the room. And everybody had a wonderful view of her display. They also had 2 screens, overhead screens, you could put something on the table and it would project overhead. So there really wasn't a bad spot unless you were sitting behind one of the columns in the room. But there were a few of us that said, we're going to stand in line to save the table, and we got a table on the outside wall, which was nice because, again, there was a plug there. I didn't have anything to plug into, and again, I stayed on site, so I think I pulled out my light on Friday, but I never really used it again because both of my stitchy friends sitting next to me had lights, so it cast onto mine, and I worked out well for me. So the doors opened at 1. They began check-in at 4 o'clock, which was when they gave us our tag. Okay, our tag. And then they Hobby House gave us this bag. This huge. It's huge, right? I don't even know. I'm sure it's some kind of a tote, but the handles on it are not that long. So I made good use of that. So we got that. And then dinner was, I want to say like 6 o'clock, I think. Yep, from 6 to 8. And it was funny because I kept looking over at this other table, and I'm looking. I'm like, Brenda's sitting there. So I found it a little different as compared to when I saw for Needlework Press, because Vicki Jeanette walked around from table to table, and the same thing when Plum Street was there. But Brenda pretty much, we went to her. I think she was so overwhelmed. It was lovely. It was just, oh my gosh, she was so kind and so gracious, and willing to move my chair, willing to chat with anybody, take pictures. So of course, I did my picture, and I actually had her sign her the exclusive, both patterns from the exclusive. So that was our Friday. Saturday morning it started. Friday night, let me go back to that. I met up with Kathleen. She met me Friday. She came to the hotel before the doors opened, and we sat and stitched for a little while. Friday night, in the room itself, I stitched on Maker and Mender, which is, I love this piece, and I started this piece way too long ago. My friend Cindy and I were doing it together. I'm quite sure she finished hers. I have not finished mine. But again, I put a lot of stitching into it. I am sure you all know this piece. It says, "The needle, be it though so slim and slender, is both a maker and a mender." So this is the piece. I love this pattern. Since it came out. I'm using all the called for overdyes, and I initially, when I started this piece, I had a couple mistakes in it, and I had to unpick, and it just got to be one of those where I was just so angry with myself. And I'm stitching on a Lugana, and it's, counting can be hard sometimes. But I did work a lot on this on Friday. I ended up finishing, here's my progress. So I finished, I know I worked on all of the letters, and I'm pretty sure I worked up on the top here. So I continued working on this until I finished that line. I worked on it in the room, and then I also worked on it in my room, and then I got to the point where I was like, I'm really tired, I have to get to bed, and I finished on the word and I keep looking at it. It's like, that does not look like the word and. Oh, you probably can't see that very well because it's on a fold. So it just looked kind of funny. But this is so pretty, and her use of the colors blue, just give it that little bit of a pop of what it needs here. Now, I started this October 1st of 2023. That's so sad. I'm stitching on 28 count Oaken Lugana by Picture This Plus. I am stitching 1/2 and all the called for, which is Classic Colorworks Weeks and then some DMC. But I just love this blue. It's called Mountain Mist. And if any of you are sewers, you remember that batting. It was called Mountain Mist batting. And then this particular blue here, which is Blue Corn. They're just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful together. And I really enjoyed taking this piece with me. And I'm going to add to my notes on my note card that I did stitch this at the retreat. And it just becomes a little bit more special. And no, I do not iron my pieces until I am done. And yes, I keep my needle in my piece. I do not use needle minders, only because my luck with needle minders, I lose the needles. And there we go. Okay, so that was my Friday. Saturday was the big day when Brenda gave us her exclusive. And I'm going to reach to grab it. It was presented to us in this box, and the piece is called Times Remembered. And honestly, it's funny because I said, oh, it's probably going to be, we're probably going to get something patriotic considering that we're so close to the 4th. But then, you know, after the fact, I'm thinking, well, that was really silly that I said that, because we only have like a month and people want to have their pieces done. So the story that Brenda told relates back to the orange with the cloves in it, and how each Christmas she puts out her oranges with the cloves, and it's plastic. And she said, you know, last year when I was putting them away, it made me think of times gone by, times remembered, with my grandmother, how she always made sure that the family was fed and everything else. And she just went on to tell a lovely story of the holiday time, and how those oranges with the cloves always seemed to be in the midst. They were always there. And she said, so when she designed this piece, it wasn't specific to Christmas, but it was maybe more for fall and winterish. So I'm sure you've seen the pieces, and I don't want to take them out of the package, but this is the piece. It's called Times Remembered. Oh, that is going to have to come out of there. I'm sorry. I didn't think that light was going to do that. So in the box came the pattern, all of the floss, well, 2 patterns, all of the floss, the fabric, and then another little paper craft that we worked on, which was actually a lot of fun. I'm trying to get this out of here. So this is the piece. Now, she did use specialty stitches in this, and again, I'm sure if you head over to Instagram, even my Instagram, you can see that there are some beautiful, beautiful stitches in this. And her piece, she said she's never done a piece centered around the orange with the cloves in them. And then her border of pomegranates. It's a very lovely piece. I was very, very pleased with it. The other piece that she gave, where's the cover? Did I take it out, the picture? Because I actually started it. I started the small. I think almost everybody, no, maybe not everybody, but a few of us at the table actually started something, you know, either the small or the larger piece. This is called Abundance and Prosperity, because that is what the cloves and the oranges signify. So this is the small. And I did make a start on this. Now we do have all of the floss. It's all here for everything. And she did give us the piece of linen, clearly, and said specific instructions as to how much to cut. Now the linen is Mica by Cedar River Linen. I believe it's a new color. I am not 100% on that. Excuse me. Dog pause number 2. Scooby likes to howl at the sirens, and I do live very close to Mercy Hospital. So this is my start. And it's very easy to stitch. The green running through is very consistent with the numbers. So I decided that what I'm going to do is all of the green, and then I'll work from there. Now the pomegranate or the oranges have French knots, and Brenda did say if you don't want to do a French knot, and she did suggest that the colonial knot is a little bit easier and works up nicer. She says if you don't want to do that, use beads, right? You're the boss of your own stitch. So the other little piece that we had to do, it's really cute, was this little girl here, this paper piece. Now she's cute, so we went through instructions on what to do. And here's my little girl. I named her Miriam. She does have a paper or a clothespin on the back. Isn't she sweet? So she's made to, oh, you can't see it. She's made to stand, which I think is adorable. So I do have a shelf in my living room, a small shelf that I bought something else I'm going to put up there too. And Miriam is going to go there and hang out there. The box also had some orange clove hand cream and then a project card for our project. It was the oohs and the ahs and the oh when we opened the box and we saw the pattern and we saw the fabric. Just wonderful. And I did have Brenda sign both of my patterns. Let's see, not on here. Where did she sign it? Right up there, see? It says happy stitching, Brenda. So I asked her if she would mind, if she would not mind to sign both of my patterns. So she did. But she was very helpful when we were making our little paper lady. She needed to walk around the tables, not just our table. Some of us don't like to wait for instructions. That was me. But it all came out. It's all good. It's all good. So Saturday was filled with that, and then we had dinner, and then we sat around and stitched, and that's when I started the small on Saturday night, because again, I wanted to stitch on Brenda pieces while I was at retreat. Okay, so then on Sunday, we came down for breakfast, and the retreat actually closed, so to speak, at like 1 o'clock. And then everybody was able to go over to Hobby House. Now I probably left at about 1 o'clock. I didn't have to go to Hobby House again because I had gone a second time on Saturday, and that's going to be my next to show you is my haul from Hobby House. So I knew on Sunday I could just head right home. And again, I was going to take the back roads. And I started taking the back roads, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go pick up the thruway. And I missed the exit because of the construction. And I literally went all the way back, 11 miles back, I had to go to get back on the thruway. I was a little upset, but that's okay. That's okay. Had the audiobook going. It's no big deal, right? It's no big deal. I always try to say if something happens and you're inconvenienced for some reason, there's a reason why. So Sunday we had 2 days of show and tell, show and share. Saturdays, just some of the things that these women, they're just phenomenal. I thought, and this was my mistake, I thought that a show and share at a retreat with a particular designer meant that you had to just bring her things that you worked on. I was wrong. So if you ever go to a retreat and they have show and share, you bring whatever. Had I known, there's a few pieces I would have brought. But I was just glad to be able to see some of these beautiful, beautiful things, the stitching that some of these women have done. It's amazing. So kudos to all of you that do those BAPs, because this girl won't do that. And those itty bitty tiny pieces, oh man. Anyway, so Sunday morning we had breakfast. Brenda, it was like a question and answer with Brenda, and she was very honest and open about very many things, which was also very comforting and unexpected. But it was great. And then I hopped in my car and I came home. And then I had to unload my car. So on Sunday, while we were there for the morning, I did start Keeper of the Pins, one of them. And I started it with silk. And I knew I was going to do it, so when I ran over to Hobby House on Saturday, I picked up a Soie d'Alger, a green for the top of the tomato, and I'm not real sure about stitching with silks, and I know that there's many different opinions and ideas and everything else, and that's great, and I am welcome to your suggestions. But I see where I had made a mistake on this, and I can see the red thread. This is a Cedar River linen I'm stitching on. So this one is My Soul is Fed with Needle and Thread. It is actually on the back of the Keeper of the Pins booklet. So, funny question, or funny story. Somebody had asked Brenda about fabric designing, and she said, well, my sister designs fabric. Now, I don't know if you know that, but her sister does design fabric for, I want to say it's for Riley Blake. Sandy, her sister's name is Sandy, and I do have some of Sandy Gervais' fabric that she has designed. And I thought, you know what, when I get done with my little pillow here, if I remember, I might pull some of her Sandy Gervais fabric to make my pillow. I don't know, we'll see what it looks like, but I am working with silk. I did make a mistake, and I had to unpick it, and it was on the letter U, and I can see where I have some red thread in there, but so far it's okay. I'm finding that I have to use shorter lengths of thread, and as a seamstress, I use a length of thread the length of my arm. I know, but listen, there are no cross-stitch police, okay? If that's what I'm comfortable using, that's what I'm going to use, and I do. So it's been a little bit different with this. Now, this is my stuff. I have everything in here to do all of these for the Keeper of the Pins, so I do have all of the other floss, and I do have, because I was going to do some of these, and this is Country Mocha Edinburgh, Vintage Country Mocha Edinburgh 36 count. So I do have some of that in here too. So between my Cedar River linen, Albarium, I love this, and the other, I have plenty to make all of these. I think there's 6 in this booklet. You know what, and somebody asked her about coming out with a booklet, and I did not know this. Now all of her patterns, she prints at home, and she doesn't keep a big stock. So like, let's say if a store orders like 50 patterns, she will print those patterns when the order comes in and then mail them out. She says as far as booklets, it's a little bit more difficult because that has to go someplace else to be printed. So that's why she doesn't do that many booklets. The patterns, as I said, she prints herself, and does all the folding and everything. She and her husband do all of that. So it's not that she doesn't want to do booklets, it's just a little bit more time consuming, and she has to order more than, you have a minimum order. So, but we did say, yes, we would love more booklets. So she might have something in the works for that. So that was Sunday, and what else did I do? Now, that was Sunday morning. I worked a little bit on that, but I also knew that I was going to be packing up to come home, and I didn't want to have to carry a lot of stuff back to my car. So Saturday night, I packed up a good amount of my stuff. So I kept Keeper of the Pins out so I could stitch a little bit on that. But I also worked on this project that, well, I finished it and I FFO'd it. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead with this because technically it's still part of my Brenda retreat. So I wanted to stitch while we were still sitting there, and I wanted to have something quick and easy to stitch on. And I brought along my summer stitch for the summer camp, the June summer camp by Sherry at Colorado Cross Stitcher. She's doing June, July, and August. June is, the prompt was stitch something from a magazine. July is stitch something patriotic or something with the colors of your country. It's obviously not limited to the US because many people watch her from all different places. And then August is do something new, which it's always that same prompt. Do something that you have not done before. So I chose to do no garden, and the sentiment is no garden is without its weeds, and it's by the Nebby Needle, and it was in the summer 2025 Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching magazine. So I had that downstairs, and I worked on that for a little bit, and then when I came home Sunday night, I worked on it too because I wanted to get this done so I could submit my final picture. So this was a finish for me on, what day is today? Friday. I finished it yesterday, Thursday, and then I fully finished it yesterday. I did 2 things in one day. I was excited to get it done. And then I was thinking about it this morning, and I thought, this isn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to put it on, I wanted to mount it on something, and I got so excited to make a pillow. I don't know. So this is, I worked on the stitching on Sunday before I came home, and then I also worked on it Sunday night. Now this is on 18 count Aida. This is a piece of Aida that was from a Stitchy Sister when I bought that whole stash. And I used another piece for my Spring Blessings pillow, which I showed before. And then the remaining piece, I coffee dyed. Well, I coffee dyed it, and then I espresso dyed it. So I finished the stitching yesterday, and then I made it into a pillow. And this is the back. And I do have it sewn shut because I don't want the opening. I don't want it to bulge open. So now I made an insert with polyfill, and then within that insert I also put some lizard litter, so it does have a little bit of heft to it. But what I didn't do was move that lizard litter all over, and so yeah, I'm sitting here playing with it because I'm trying to distribute that litter throughout the polyfill. But I did stitch with DMC flosses. I have said that in all of the smalls that I'm doing this year, like any of the Primrose Cottage smalls that I'm doing or anything else, I'm going to go into my leftover pieces of DMC that we don't ever throw out and use those. So some of the colors in this are the actual colors and some are not. I chose what I wanted to choose. What I liked about this was the little bit of the purple flower, and that is why I ended up going with the purple as an accent here. So all of my fabrics and my rickrack, everything here was from my stash. And I have this sitting in my back hall. If you do follow me on Instagram, I did post a picture of it yesterday in my back hall on the little bench. So I had an FO and an FFO yesterday. So the only thing that was not a Brenda Gervais stitch that I worked on during retreat was some of that, because honestly, like I said, it was easy to just bring the bag downstairs and do, sitting there stitching on 18 count Aida. I didn't have to have any hoops or anything like that. So that was the retreat. It was wonderful. It was marvelous. It was all of the things. I ran into some friends that I've met before, and some of my followers, which I'm just like blown away when people are like, oh my God, Barb, we watch your videos. Listen, and I'm going to get into this later, but I got to say it here. I just went to an estate sale today, a cross-stitch estate sale, and one of the women there is a follower. So it's just, it's like there's only 200 and some people, 214, and I just get giddy. So going to retreat, I also believe I showed this in a video. I made table gifts, and you don't have to. You don't have to do anything like that. But stitchers are just so generous. I even had gifts given to me. They're like, oh, yep, you're one of our Flosstubers. I watch you, and I just blows me away, and I'm just so grateful and appreciative. So I made these little pin cushions. This one I kept for myself because he's a little wonky. It's like, you're a little cockeyed guy. So this one is mine. And then for my table gifts, I made different colors, and I stuck some pins in them. So this was what I gave. And this was a really, really quick pattern. I did put some lizard litter in here as well, just to give it a little bit, like if you squeeze it, you can feel it. But this was my gift that I gave to my table mates. And of course, we all brought snacks. Almond Joys. Oh my God. I made a pig of myself of the Almond Joys, I'll tell you that. Now, I put everything in one area here. So some of these were table gifts. Some of these were gifts that I was given from people that watch my Flosstubes. So this I know for a fact came from somebody who was a Flosstube viewer. This cute little pillow for needles, and a little winder. So this is going to go into my bowl over here that I have on the table. This is beeswax. Let me just see. Some of these have the names on them. It's Orange Blossom Stitcher's Balm, and this was Amy. Amy sat at my table. Amy was the one that told me how to use my Nerge stand correctly. So this, and I did not use any of these things yet because I wanted to show them before I did that. This is a charm and a pin. This is Jenny Swan, Stitchy Girl, and I do follow her. She's on Instagram, Stitchy Girl, STITCHY.GIRL. She was there. She was very pleasant walking around, so she gave little packets, and it's got some Rick Rack in there. Love Rick Rack. I look for Rick Rack anytime I go to an estate sale. This came from Lisa. Lisa was at our table. This I'm going to use on my Americana piece that I'm going to try to show you. I don't know. I have it in the hoop. The primrose piece that just came out. So this is going to go on there. We got some floss drop cards. This was just, we were all marveling at this. And I don't remember the lady's name. I honestly don't even know if she told us her name. She was passing this out to everybody. This is matched so perfectly. We were just marveling that she must have mad paper skills, because if you look at how this comes together at the top, the flowers line up. It's insane. And then when you open it, it's for a needle. The people are so creative, and I'm just so glad to be a part of our community. This has a floss card. I didn't open it. This also came from one of my table mates. So there's some floss on a ring and snippies and little hooks. I love these. I have these. I bought these in all different colors, and I use them to hang my year charms. And of course now I wish I would have remembered to take my year charms with me, because I was going to pass them out for anybody that needed them, instead of stitching the date on, like here on this pillow here. If you look real close, you see right here, that's the year charm. Oops, sorry, I'm floating around in your face there. This was also from one of my table mates, the teacup and the honey stick and some tea. See? So pretty. And I do collect teacups. And floss drops. And here's another little needle. Look at these little hexagons. That's a big fat nope for me. Unbelievable. And these are, okay, you got to look at this now. This is one side of the fabric. This is the back side. So you know what that means? That's all stitched, and I'm sure you can't see it. This is all stitched together here. Insane. Insane. Speechless. Okay, what else do we have? Here's another little bag. This has a charm and a little stitchy box with, and this was another one of the ladies at my table with some, I'm going to show these to you, little labels. The word escaped me. And I will use those because I will put them on my pieces or on my quilts. And some more floss cards here. This is from Winding Vine Designs. And some more floss drops and project card. See, more floss drops. And a couple more gifts here. This has candies, right? It's got some, I just do this instead of just trying to tell you. So we got some Lifesavers, which I did not eat any of. Love Lifesavers. Quilting clips, or clips for, I use them for quilting and I use them for stitching. Some eyeglass wipes, and then little snips, which I love these. I have a few pair of these. And then a scissor fob. Just lovely. Just lovely. And then we got a little project bag, again, from one of our friends. This is Lori Holt fabric. See? Nice little project bag here. I do like the small bags because when I'm doing a small piece, it's perfect. So those were my pieces that I got as gifts. Now, I have a lot of haul. And honestly, I think that I'm not even going to talk to you about this. I'm going to go through the haul and then I'm going to stop because I have another hour at least of the stuff that I got at the estate sale today. So we're going to leave that for another time. So I'm going to move things out of the way and bring my haul over, and then I'll continue. This table is a mess. My husband is out of town for the weekend golfing. So I'm spreading everything out here. I'm looking at everything. I'm actually trying to figure out if I want to try to make a spreadsheet with all of my linens, because I got like 3, which is not a lot, trust me, 3 good solid boxes of linens upstairs and some Aida in that. I usually don't, I only use Aida for small pieces like, ooh, that almost went flying to the floor. I only use Aida for like a small piece, like a holiday piece or something like that. It's not a common. I've been using more and more and more linens. Okay, so I'm going to go through my haul. I'm not going to take the fabrics out of the bags. I know that they're probably going to be crinkly, but just to save time, because I have over 20 pieces of fabric. So one of the beautiful things at a retreat is the free table. Now, I've been to a couple of retreats where there wasn't a free table. And unfortunately, and I'm saying this only because I feel badly for the people that missed out, there was a table and a half. Now, each table sat 8. So maybe a dozen people that were unable to make the retreat. And I'm quite sure, I would like to say that David and Kathy would have sent them their retreat items, like their kit and everything. But anyway, the free table, it just happened to be behind me. And I brought patterns, I first offered them to my friends at the table. I think I actually brought them down Thursday night, and whoever was there, if you want to take them, go ahead. Some were quilting patterns, some were cross-stitch patterns. You know what? Why not share the joy, right? If you're done with something or you're not going to stitch it, pass it along. So at the free table, and also at our table, I picked up this Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery, Not Without My Dogs. I love this. I hope you can see it. I'm trying to make the glare not there. So that. This is Madame Chantilly, Star de Noël. I thought this would be very cute for Christmas. Of course. Country Garden Stitchery, Love Makes a House a Home. I think what drew my eye to this was the colors and the linen. Now the linen is Dusty Rose from Zweigart, called for. But I did pick up a piece today at the estate sale of some linen. This is Pineberry Lane, Merry Christmas. I've wanted this for a while. I probably have it upstairs. And then we have Souvenirs of the Heart. So these are relatively small pieces, which, I think would be really a nice little quick piece to get done. There was fabric, of course, just some pieces of fabric here. Good enough for backing, right? Making pillows or backing, whatever. This one. And this one, with the banding in it. So that was on the free table. And yes, I also contributed to the free table. And that's, and you know what? Nobody monitors that. If there's something there that you like and you're going to stitch it, then take it, right? It's there for a reason. Now, what did I buy? Apparently, I'm going to take the tag off of here because I don't feel you need to know just how much I spent on this, but I felt it was worth it. There's a woman that makes these and brings them into Hobby House. Now, this is silk ribbon on here. Look at this. Look at the stitching on there. This thing is solid. It's solid. Here's the back. I fell in love with this. Well, there were a bunch of them there, and I thought, well, I can't buy them all. So the red spoke to me because, of course, my Trans Am is red, and my Featherweight I just had painted as red, and one of my Bernina sewing machines has red, So I said, oh, well, just do this. So I do have a shelf in my living room that when I was at a previous retreat, I picked up a piece there that I absolutely love. And this is going to go up there as well. So this woman makes these, and so they are locally made. I would assume locally, considering that's Hobby House, and it is. And they did say she brings them into the shop. They're just beautiful, and they're very worth what I paid for this. It'll be a beautiful decoration to add to my shelf. Needles, because we can always use some John James needles. I picked up floss, and this is something I have to do this afternoon after I go pick up Chet, is figure out what I bought this for. I think it's for one of the patterns I have here, but I'm not 100% certain. I do think that these two Classic Colorworks go with a particular pattern. I bought some new scissors because we can never have enough pretty snips. I love scissors. Are they pretty? They're rose colored, rose gold. In my little scissor box that I got a while ago. My Saujou scissors are in here too. Look at that. Oh, I love how tight these are. So those are going to stay in here, and I picked this up the last time I was at Hobby House, or one of the previous times, I don't remember. The little scissor case. I have 4 of these cases. I have the scissor case, I have a blue case upstairs, a pink case that looks like you could put rulers in it, and then the one that is, well, why am I not showing you? The blue one is like a little clutch purse kind of thing. It's I won that at Hobby House, but I have this one. This is the one that I think that, you know, would be, I have more scissors in here, of course, and some clips. So that's good for this. It could be pencils, pens, whatever, little rulers, things like that. I have this one. This is my little carry case. My husband bought this for me. There goes a pattern for my birthday the one year, I believe. And I absolutely love this. I do take this with me. There's Band-Aids in here, my business cards, my little Hobby House ruler, nail file, and then this top comes out, and then it has more space in the bottom here. So again, I've got my little Kahana snips are in here, and some more needles because we can never have enough needles. And then this beautiful needle book that I bought through Needle in a Haystack, and this is actually wood, and I bought this a while ago, and I know I've shown this before, but I keep it in this bag, and I had it. They will engrave whatever you want on the front. They have things that you can pick from. This is wood, and they laser cut it to the point that it folds like paper. And I got this through Needle in a Haystack. It was like 25 bucks. And then, you know, you can have not embroidery, you can have engraving on the back. I just chose it for the front. I love this little thing. It is so pretty, and it smells like wood. Like when they do, I know there's a word for it, and it's not coming to my head. Wood burning. That's so I have these pieces. So let me show you the patterns that I bought, because of course, standing around waiting and listening to people talk, you just like, oh, I don't have that pattern. I don't have that pattern. I'm hoping that these are all going to be easy to see. This is Summer Trio. Obviously, Brenda's pattern. These are all Brenda patterns. Snowman in Forecast, and I had wanted this for a while, or Snow in the Forecast. Snowmen in the Forecast. And I think one of these threads might be for this. What color is this? Teal Frost. Nope. It's not for this one. Maybe it's for this one. This is Heart and Hand Sampler. I love this. It's so pretty. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have thought about this. I should have taken them out. Here we go. Isn't that pretty? So I'm just trying to see if these colors are for this, because I have no idea. I know I was looking at some of the patterns and then realizing that, you know, obviously they were going to be out of floss, and that's okay, because when I go to do the pattern, whatever floss I need, I'm going to go to my friend Lazy Daisy and get stuff from her. And I actually have a pile here of stuff that I bought from her too, but we're going to save that for another time. This is called Token of Love. Maybe this is for that one. Somebody needs to tell me what some of this floss is for. This is really, really pretty. They all are. Who am I kidding? Okay. And Well, if anything, I can sit here tonight and go over this too. Because I didn't want to put anything together until I went through. Oh, look at that. That's not a Brenda pattern. How did that sneak in there? Where Love Grows. Did I buy this teal frost for? I am really, I don't know. I have, like I said, I have floss sitting here. I know it was for something that I bought, but I don't know what it's for. But it's right now is not the time to figure that out. I did get the Sewing Sundries, and I do have the other pattern by October House with this, the Stitchy Spot pattern. I do have that. I did pick that up at Lazy Daisy, if I remember correctly. So I have this pattern. I'm going to turn it this way because I don't want you to. And this one. This was a release there that day, and we were lucky to have it there. The Gardener's Satchel. So pretty. Now, it says herbs on it, but I might turn around and rechart that to say roses, because that is my thing. Now, I bought Mason Linens. It's called Pines and Needles, and it's gray. And I picked up these two blues because I know I'm going to do it in one of these colors. Now, this is my first 40 count linen, so I'm going to see which one works better on it. But it's very, very pretty, this linen. So I do know, and you know what, looking at it, I can see where Battleship has a little bit more variation to it as compared to Deep Sea. But I'm going to look and see what's going to look best when I start stitching. And I know my plans, and I'm not going to get into all of that today, but I can tell you my plans for July will be to start all Brenda pieces. Like I did last year in Christmas in July, I gave myself gifts because why not, right? And I don't even remember how many new starts. But that's what I'm going to do in July. All of my new starts mostly will be Brenda pieces. I'm just going to start all the things. I did take my Rose Quaker with me. This pattern. I have decided that this is going to be my January 2027 start, or I might start it in September. I don't know. What did I take this for? Maybe that goes for here. I don't know. So I picked up, I'm going to show my linens. I picked up some 32 count Albarium by Cedar River Linen, and it is a very light color. And that is what I'm going to do. Excuse me for moving out of screen here. That is what I'm going to do that piece on. And it does call for all DMC. So, and it's just the pinks in that. And I'm quite positive that I'm going to pull the floss. And it's funny because I have another piece of Albarium that I'm doing the Keeper of the Pins. I'm pretty sure it's Albarium. So that's what I got that specifically for. Now, I did have, again, I'm just going to show the packages because I really don't want to take everything out. It would just be too noisy and too much. I have a lot of linen. This is 32 count Dark Sanditon by Swan Bay. They had some Swan Bay there. So this is a darker brown. It's showing up lighter in the camera. It's a darker brown. This is another Mason's Linen. It's called Beeswax. Again, 32 count. So it's almost like a honey count color. That's really pretty. I love that Hobby House folds the linen presses it, folds it, and puts the tag inside for you. This is 36 count Messy Marvin. And I'm not sure, I know we talked about this. I want to say it might be, hold that thought. Hang on. Hang on, you're probably saying, Barb, how do you not know who that is? How do you not know who that is? Because I dealt with so many linens, I can't remember whose is what right now. I bought so many different Shakespeare's Peddler. It might be. I don't know. Do not quote me. All it said was Messy Marvin. It's 36 count. And it's got some really nice modeling on it. It's a very nice shade of brown. Again, these lights make things look yellow. Agitates me. This is a 36 count flannel flower linen by Fox and Rabbit, and you can see the modeling in here. Maybe. Oh, I really should have taken this out, but you know what? It would have been more of a mess. There we go. Turning them all upside down. This is just the ticket, 36 count by Tabby Cat, and I know you've heard these before. You've heard the names. So you might be familiar with the linens. Snickerdoodle 36 count by Grace Notes. And you see the darkness to that one. I really like that. This is Fiber on a Whim Espresso, which I absolutely love. And I know I have more of this. I love this. It's just dark enough for me. 36 count Sand by Picture This Plus. Ugh. Again, I apologize, but I really don't want to take these out of the package. It would make so much noise. I had pre-ordered 2 pieces of linen. Well, what had happened was I made an order and I ordered the wrong one. And then I went on and I ordered the right one. I wanted this one. This is 36 count Gingerbread by Picture This Plus. It's a really nice dark brown. Looks green, but it's brown. I wanted this one, but I ended up purchasing Cyprium 36 count. But when I got to the store and I looked at it, I said, ooh, I really like that. This one I am going to open. Because it does have a lot of modeling to it. It is very pretty. And again, please take my word for it that these linens are just stunning. And this one, I just loved it because you can just see on one spot up top here, it's very red. And then down at the bottom, it's much more green. So those are my 36 counts. I told you I bought a lot of linen. On top of what I picked up at Lazy Daisy before I even went to retreat. But that's a different day. I can't do it all in one day. We're already almost an hour and 15 minutes in. So this is 32 count Spindrift by Cedar River Linen. My absolute favorite linen is Cedar River. This is, again, a 32 count, just the ticket. So I got 36 and 32, which is fine. 32 count Baked Clay by Fox and Rabbit. Very pretty. You can see the red in this. And I know I bought duplicates of some things, but I'm okay with that. This is Shaker Gray 32 count by Tabby Cat. Whatever they had left, I took of this piece. It does look gray, but I do see blue in it, and I also see green. And I really just caught my eye. This is Cafe au Lait Fiber on a Whim 32 count. It's another one of my faves because, again, coffee. 32 count De Bloom by Picture This Plus. 32 count Legacy, because how do you go somewhere and not get any Legacy, right? This is a Lugana, 32 count Lugana. This is Shakespeare's Peddler Snickerdoodle. And it's got some strong lines in it. 36 count Antique Hometown. This is Kathy's linen. The Antique Hometown is what she's doing. And then 36 count Cafe Olay. I got a fat half of this by Grace Notes. So that was just what I got at Hobby House. I am honestly going to end this video because it is time for me to go pick up Chet from doggy daycare. I am probably going to come back and do another video on just the estate sale that I went to today. And it was a cross-stitch estate sale. So, but this was my Hobby House haul. It was amazing. And I truly hope if you ever have the opportunity, God, I look like a mess today. I am so sorry, people. It is what it is, right? If you ever have the opportunity to get together with a group of your stitchy friends, please, please take the time to do it. Whether you just all say, you know what, let's meet at the library, let's bring our stuff to the coffee shop, maybe Starbucks or someplace like that, or meet at somebody's home, or just go to the park. Take the time to get to know other stitchers. And it could just be one person in your area that stitches, or maybe you have a friend that wants to learn but doesn't want to ask because they think that it might be too hard, or you can't take the time, or whatever. Or there's a younger individual that would like to learn. I was babysitting the other day, and I was working on the pillow, because I do like to take an Ada piece with me when I babysit. And my grandson came home from school, and he says, "Can I help you stitch?" Absolutely. He's 6 years old. He likes to work. He has stitched with me before. Like I'll put the needle in, he'll pull it. Right? He knows how to run my featherweight. So it doesn't matter. Maybe you get together with a group of people that crochet or knit. Why can't you all come together as a group? We have a shop not too far from here that is, it's called Coffee and Crochet, or Crochet and Coffee, something like that. And I should know it because I've been there a couple times, and I apologize for not having the correct title to the store. But she's got a really cute shop, and it's not just to go in and sit and crochet. You can take other projects and sit there and just be part of a community. So if you have the opportunity to go to a retreat, and yes, they are expensive. They can be. I mean, they can be, between a hotel stay. There were 2 people that flew in from the UK for this retreat, right? I'm fortunate, hour-and-a-half drive. So, people were flying in from all over. And that adds up between, your flights and all that other stuff. But if you have the opportunity to get together with a group of stitchers, you will never regret it. You'll make new friends, you'll learn new things, and you're going to realize that your stitching is good enough. Your stitching is good enough. Nobody judges you. Nobody will judge you. And you know what? If they do, show them the door, right? I chatted with a lot of stitchers, and everybody is supportive of each other. And that's what's important, right? We need to keep this craft going. This quilting, crochet, knitting, we need to keep these going. Some of the younger girls in their 30s and 40s, they're saying, oh, I'm doing my grandma hobbies. I've been doing grandma hobbies since I was 12, right? So we need to keep this going. We need to teach our children, our grandchildren, encourage our friends, no matter what type of craft that you enjoy doing, just continue to do it. If you enjoy going to retreats, I probably won't do one now for a couple years, because this is a lot. There's a lot of stitching I can do here. It's costly. You just walk into the store and you just piling in all this linen, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and I'm very happy that I'm able to do it. With that, I'm going to close here. I'm going to come home and try to fix up this table. Got to go get Chet from doggy daycare. So please, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for spending all of this time with me. And again, I will be doing another video with regards to the estate sale that I went to today. That otherwise it would just be too long. So thank you. Please like, comment, share, tell your friends, leave me a comment. What did you like about my retreat? You know, what maybe something that you learned that you didn't know happened at a retreat. What happens at a retreat stays at a retreat. I'll tell you that much. All right, friends. Hey, thanks so much. And I will see you again shortly. Bye for now.